app and ESPNU. Just click more on the lower right-hand corner. Scroll down to live radio. Bam! That's where you can find us. But it is not Keyshawn, J. Will, or Max this morning. It's a takeover. Harry Douglas, Jason Fitz, sneak peek, if you will, of Fitz and Harry, which starts January 3rd, Monday through Friday on ESPN Radio from noon to 3 Eastern every single day. My guy, it was a big day yesterday for two division rivals.
Yes, it was. But before we even get to that, Fitz, I got to tell you about yesterday. I got on the airplane at the airport. Multiple people coming up to me, hey, man, I can't wait. January 3rd, right? Fitz and Harry. Every weekday, 12 noon to 3 p.m. I said, that's right. It's like, man, we're going to be supporting. About at least 5 people, Fitz, came up to me yesterday in the airport or on the airplane and said they can't wait to watch the show.
See, that's why I love working with Harry Douglas, because he's actually, like, famous and a superstar. When people walk up to me in the airport, it's usually to ask where the bathroom is or, like, where the Starbucks is. Like, ain't nobody coming up to me saying anything about. But, yes, you are right, because I'm just riding the coattails of Harry Douglas to magnificent success. We're going to be hanging out with you every day. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. You guys can hang out with us. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776 if you're like me and you don't like to use the little spelling numbers thingies. ESPN Nation presented by Dr. Pepper. It ain't college football season without the delicious taste of an ice cold Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve. Fans in Denver thought they deserved a great season, and a lot of us spent all summer talking about it. Well, my prediction, the one thing I think I got right, was that Denver would be the worst team in the AFC West. I didn't even know it would go this bad, and they've now parted ways with head coach Nathaniel Hackett. They're 4-11, so this becomes one of the rare times we've ever seen a coach in his first year, Harry, not even make it through the season. That's staggering compared to what everyone expected in June.
Yeah, you look at a lot of things that transpired within the Denver Broncos this season. From the offensive side of the ball, you talk about communication issues, situational football not being on point, the offense not on one accord, Russell Wilson not being everything that they thought he was going to be able to be. But you look across the board, you look at points per game, 15.5, that's last in the National Football League. Third down offense, 28.6%, that's last in the National Football League. Sacks allowed, 57, that's last in the National Football League. And then when you look at a guy like Russell Wilson from a passing standpoint, 15-plus yards down the field, his completion percentage is 44%. Yards per attempt is 3 yards. And then touchdown to interception ratio is 6-6. That is unbelievable. And not only that, they gave up a haul for Russell Wilson. But here's the thing. I never thought that Nathaniel Hackett in the offense that he wanted to run and Russell Wilson was a match. Russell Wilson is not a timing quarterback. And we've seen that time and over again when he was with the Seattle Seahawks. Now, Russell Wilson with a run game and make splash plays here and there, that has been Russell Wilson. But when you have Javonte Williams get hurt early on and, Melvin Gordon can't hold on to the football inside his own 5-yard line, you're going to force Russell Wilson to have to be in more passing situations. And for the phrase, let Russ cook, we're not letting Russ cook anymore. If the new head coach coming in and whatever offensive system that he wants to run, we're not letting Russ cook. Russ was trying to cook eggs, and he burnt damn eggs. Think about that. Russ burnt eggs, man. How hard is it to burn eggs?
I love the analogy, but, let's be real. The reason Nathaniel Hackett is gone right now and Russell Wilson isn't from the Broncos is because there's no salary cap for coaches.
No.
Right? You can find – coaching contracts are fully guaranteed. So whatever Nathaniel Hackett got in his contract, he's going to see every dollar of. But there's no consequence to the future. It's just a matter of do a bunch of billionaire owners want to pay more checks. You can't just do that. To that end, Dan Orlovsky, ESPN NFL analyst, was on this show yesterday with this hot take on Russell that's physically impossible, but I want you to hear it.
I don't think it's out of the realm to sit there and say, should we just move on from the quarterback? And I know, Dan, that's so dumb. You can't, because you can. And now it's awful. You're not going to be good next year unless Russell somehow – because here's the reality. Who wants that job? What coach is that you think that coach is the guy to get Russell Wilson back and to fix Russell Wilson? Well, there's not that many of them.
So a couple of things. It's roughly $100 million cap hit if they move on from Russell Wilson. $100 million. So, no, you can't do that because you wouldn't even be able to pay to put a reasonable roster around. But then to the other point, man, as you can see if you're watching us on ESPNU, I'm sitting here in a damn Raiders hoodie. Like, the answer of who's going to want that job, I've seen the worst of the worst from Raiders teams. And, my God, there are still coaches doing cartwheels naked in the street to try and line up. There's only 32 NFL jobs. And we're making it sound like Russell Wilson is Jamarcus Russell. He ain't. Like, it is not that long ago we saw Russell Wilson be very good. The question is just, can you come in, and you see it on the screen now, $107 million cap hit, $85 million the year after. Russ ain't going anywhere. So it becomes a question of who can walk in and say, I've watched tape on Russ and I know how to maximize him. That's the only question that should be asked in the next head coaching interview is, what's your plan for Russell Wilson? Because we can't do anything about that.
Yeah, and it has to be somebody that, puts the run game first, right, and wants to rush the football, because that's when we've seen Russell Wilson be the most effective from his days in Seattle, and also a great and solid defense. We know the Denver Broncos, they have a solid defense, but that's been, negated because of the terrible offensive play, to the point of where you've seen turmoil from guys coming out the football field talking to offensive people, and specifically Russell Wilson, because the lack of play that they have had this entire season. But the next head coach, right, he's going to have to be able to see how can he get the best out of Russell Wilson. And if he does has an offensive system in which he has to, because if you're not going to get the head coaching job if you don't, how are you going to tailor some of the things in your system towards the strengths of Russell Wilson? Because he holds the football entirely too long at times. That's the reason why he was sacked so much in Seattle, and that's one of the reasons why the Denver Broncos are number one in sacks allowed right now, because he sits and holds the football so much.
I swear to God, he's Harry Douglas, I'm Jason Fitz. If our show, Fitz and Harry, that starts January 3rd, could have a slogan, one of them is going to be systems matter, right? Because, like, you played in the league for 10 stinking years, and this is what blows my mind. We see players that are absolute failures, and we immediately establish busts to that player. Well, the player must be a failure. But then you see that player go somewhere else, and they have a nice career. They do good things. Like, systems matter, even at the highest level of the best position in football. Like, if you are a quarterback, you still need the right coaches. And I've talked to a bunch of guys that were around the league, that coached in the league, that break down film of the league, that have said for years, Russell Wilson has a very there's a particular way that you make Russell Wilson successful. Now we're seeing that that's the case. So this immediately becomes a matter of, can you bring somebody in with the system that can maximize Russell? Because, again, this is not like a terrible quarterback. This is a quarterback that a year ago people were saying, Hall of Famer headed to the NFC West.
I'll tell you this. It can't be let Russ cook.
Oh, no.
As I cross my damn shoulders. You keep thinking you can let Russ cook and see what happened to the damn mansion. See what happened to the mansion, see what happened to the building. It'll all be burnt down. Keep letting Russ cook if you want to.
You and I both like to cook a lot, right?
Yes.
And it's funny because, like, anyone that grew up,
give them some classes.
Right, but when you're a little kid, particularly, you walk in the kitchen, they'll be like, I'll let you cook. Yeah, you can help. And then you give, like, the menial tasks to the kids. That's when you, like, let Russ cook the pre-boxed mac and cheese and then tell him how great it is. But that's about it. Like, don't let Russ handle the main dish. Give him one of the sides and let it be mixed. Like, that's
Russ cook. Y'all don't get out of here with that damn slogan.
In honor of Hackett being let go by the Broncos, we're asking you guys, 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776 on the Dr. Pepper call-in line. Who's the athlete or player from your fandom that you wish you could just exchange? You just want to take him back after Christmas and be like, sorry, my aunt got me this ugly sweater and I don't want it anymore, because that's what the Broncos are doing right now with Hackett. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. All right, the Broncos are the worst